everyone, my name is Naomi Charles and I am the author of the book Focus. So the first question is, what inspired you to write Focus? So Focus actually started off as a screenplay when I was in college, in undergrad, and I was taking a film minor. So I had an assignment for one of my screenplay classes, and the prompt was to write about two people who were exes who finally come across each other after 2 years of not seeing each other. And I didn't want to write just like, a typical, oh, I felt butterflies, I'm still in love with them, which is definitely part of it. But I also included the aspect of murder, which made everybody a lot more nervous. And I remember submitting it just being maybe 15 pages long, and my professor emailing me saying, like, you need to expand upon this. I absolutely loved it. And from there, I started working on Focus as a book. I always knew that I wanted to write books, and I just thought, you know what, let me just start from here. So I adapted it back into novel form, and the rest is history. So when did you first realize that you wanted to be a writer? For a very long time. I think I knew I wanted to write books since elementary school, and I'm gonna say maybe around like 8 or 9, I used to tell my mom that I would write books one day, and I guess I was right. How long did it take for you to write Focus? Okay, so I started Focus. It started as a screenplay in 2018, and then it was actually ready early summer of 2020, right before it actually went out to get published with Amazon. So I will say, I definitely stopped in between and stuff like that, but I'll say for that book, 1.5 years. What has been your experience as an indie author? I love it. I love that I have almost complete autonomy over how every aspect of my book goes. There's no, higher ups telling me you need your cover to look like this, you need to write stuff like this, for sure. But it's also very difficult, like all that responsibility is also on you. It's all up to you. You have nobody to help you make those decisions. So it's good because you get to make those decisions, but it's also bad because you get to make those decisions, especially if you're busy. I mean, right now, I'm in school, I'm a graduate student, and making all these decisions and, having to figure all these things out is definitely difficult. So I would say that it's great, but it's also very challenging. What made you decide to publish indie rather through a company? So, I originally wanted to publish Focus traditionally, but it definitely wasn't as welcomed as I thought it was going to be. I knew I loved the story. I believed in it 100%, but I was told by a few people who, looked it over and people who I queried it with, they were like, yeah, I don't know how believable it is. Things like, yeah, but she's like rich, like what's her struggle? And like, that's a whole nother thing. And not to make this very political, but like, Black people their struggle isn't only about being in poverty and like being on food stamps and living in like the projects. That's not Nicole's story. And if you've read Focus, you definitely know that. And that's okay. She had a different type of struggle. And not every Black person's going to be able to relate to a story that's, talking about a real struggle situation like that. I know I wouldn't be able to. So I believed in it, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to get this story out here somehow, and I'm going to do it independently. Are you planning on writing more, or have you written more? Absolutely. Book 2, which is actually a sequel to Focus, Chill, is actually written and will be coming out this summer. So I'm very excited about that. And there'll definitely be more information on that in the near future. And I'm actually also working on the 3rd book in the series. So yes, I'm absolutely writing more. What do you want people to know about? I definitely want people to know more about, the writing process, what it takes to write a book. Imposter syndrome. Let's talk about that. Okay, so imposter syndrome is when you feel this feeling of not belonging or that you don't believe the praise that you're receiving, which is definitely something that I felt when I first started going about this, and people were like, wow, I really like your book and stuff like that. You know, I had articles being written about me, people were posting about Focus everywhere, and I was just like, wow, this is a lot. And I didn't feel like I was deserving of all this praise, even though I'd worked so hard. I'd worked tirelessly working on this, making sure she was ready for the world, even while being in school, and that's something to celebrate. And I did deserve the praise, but I didn't feel like it. So, you know, helping people work through imposter syndrome, inspiring people to, you know, put their work out there. Your story could literally inspire somebody and change their lives. You don't know that. There's so many books that you could probably think of at the top of your head right now that really changed your life at the time that you read it, right? That could be your story for someone else. So, you know, what I want people to know more about is just being confident in themselves and really putting themselves out there, because you never know what could happen, and your art is valid. If you could spend the day with another author, who would it be and why? Okay, so I'm gonna have to pick John Green. I discovered John Green when I was 12 years old, when I was watching Vlogbrothers and all of that. And I decided to start looking at his books, and I was completely enthralled by all of it. It was amazing. And I just remember thinking, I want somebody to feel this way about something that I wrote one day. And it was just, there was just some pieces that he wrote that are just so deep, like Looking for Alaska and Paper Towns and The Fault in Our Stars, that I just want to pick his brain and just talk to him. I feel like he'd be super interesting. He likes to travel. He goes different places for his inspiration. And I one day I would love to meet with him and just pick his brain. So any comments that you would like to add? So definitely read Focus if you haven't already. And get started now, because the series is blossoming. Book 2 will be out later this year, and Book 3 will be out next year. So guys, definitely, you know, get up to date now. Definitely check out Project Indie. I love everything that Abigail's doing. I think it's an absolutely awesome company, and I'm so glad that she wants me to be part of it. I'm honored. And definitely stay safe out there. All right, guys, I'll see you soon. Bye.